charisma just comes out, right? But if you're not doing that, it's not there.
Because sometimes success and happiness can be mutually exclusive.
It could be. It could be when you're not doing something you want to do in life. See, when we are kids, for some reason, from probably grade 1 to grade 5, we've always known what we wanted to do. But from grade 5 onwards, it just gets complicated. And for some reason, we lose that original memory of what we really wanted to become as kids, because there are so many forces, so many factors influencing your thinking. And when you're about 21, you're really confused. And from there onwards, you're just confused and you're just trying to survive, because that's the problem today. Everyone wants to be safe, right? And I understand that. When I look at my kid today, when I every day when I hold him in my hands, part of my brain is saying, don't do anything that daddy did. Just finish your studies, get a stable job, earn a salary, and just be happy. But my other part of the brain is saying, I would really not like you to be average. I would really not like you to be comfortable. I would really not like you to be just safe.
I think a lot of parents, want their kids to be in that comfort zone always.
That's because that's love. That's love.
Course.
No parent wants to see their child take a risk. It's an oxymoron, right? But that's the paradox. If you want your kid to be successful, you got to help him take risks. How do you help him take risks? Very simple. Give him the right qualities, the leadership qualities, at a very young age. Teach him what is integrity, teach him what is honesty, teach him what is dedication, teach him what is commitment. Put that software in and just let him fly. He'll fail 1,000,000 times, but if you've done it properly, he'll be successful one time or the other.
And if I could ask you this question, what is your opinion of the graduates who are coming out of Sri Lankan higher education institutions during this time?
It's interesting. I'm just coming off a big recruitment project for a large company, and we wanted to hire five graduates for a top management training program. There were over 600 applicants, and I'm telling you, 580 applicants were rejected from the first initial question. And I ask myself, how? And I ask myself, why? And it's not the education. It's just they're not bothered. They're not bothered to answer the question. They're not bothered to do the research. They're just waiting for the job to land on their lap.
And that is not something that's going to happen in this day and age, is it?
It's not. And you will see some of the most successful applicants who really get jobs, become leaders. Even the email they send to the company is spot on, structured. You can see that the sentencing is right. You can see that the punctuation is right. You can see that everything that needs to be in it. And this is not an email he just typed. He would have typed it, re-edited it. It's just 5 or 6 lines, but you see the effort in the email. And a lot of graduates don't put that effort. They say, okay, look, I've got my degree, I've got my master's, my MBA, here's my CV, you give me a job now. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen.
So it's really about putting in that extra effort and really standing out in that way, isn't it?
That's right.
So many people complain that they can't get jobs after they leave universities. But it's actually about the effort you can put in yourself without standing on the roads asking for a job.
And that's about going back to what I said earlier. They don't want it bad enough. It's just like like tuck tick took. They just send it. If it hits, we are lucky. If it's not, let me send my CV to 1,000 places with the same covering letter. And if one works out, that's great.
Because there have been some kids, who are academically not that great, but then still, by the public speaking, talents that they have, and of course, good leadership skills, as you mentioned, they get the best job in the world.
That's right. Because that's what I told you earlier. Education and success are inversely correlated.
And we'll be speaking about that in just a moment, but we have to go for a short commercial break, so stay with us. We'll be right back on Good Morning Sri Lanka. Welcome back to the show. You're with us on Good Morning Sri Lanka. We were having a very interesting discussion with Mr. Dhananjaya Hettiarachchi about leadership. And today, when we speak about leadership, we have to think about a certain segment of the population, the entrepreneurs, who have come forward. They have revolutionized the way that we carry out business today.
Right.
And this trend is becoming a growing trend in the world today. There are so many
people. And in Sri Lanka as well, Amaya.
Sri Lanka as well, of course. So what do you think about the contribution that entrepreneurs make to society and the economy?
I think it's a huge contribution. I think that's one of the least explored frontiers we have in Sri Lanka. We got a lot of people with great ideas and who have the potential to become entrepreneurs, but for some reason it's not materializing as fast as we would want them to. For example, like if you have a stable job in a private sector organization or government sector organization, what you got to realize is you're always working towards making someone else rich. And you know, you think I'm getting a great salary, but your CEO is getting paid probably 200 times more than what you're getting. And you got to see the equation. It's a pyramid. And you know, the chances of you going from here to the next CEO is very slim. You probably have a bigger probability of becoming the next billionaire if you really stick through to your idea and go through with entrepreneurship. But then that's what I was talking about earlier. You got to be uncomfortable. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable, willing to leave my daily pay, willing to leave my desk and office and really go on that journey to become an entrepreneur.
But a reason why people don't take that risk is because it's a risk itself.
Right.
What if you fail? From where do you actually pick yourself up? I know it's very easy to say that, you know, you fall, you pick yourself up and then go, you fall again and then pick yourself up. But where does it exactly, you know, how do you define you fail and then how do you really pick yourself up?
That's an interesting question. Failure was never a problem until we hit our teenage years. When we were kids, we were failing all the time. I was failing all the time. But we were really happy failing, you know, because we were discovering something new every time we failed. But after a while, you see the stigma, you see people around you looking at you in a negative way, and you say, look, here's my dream, let me park that here, and let me just stick to something that, you know, when you meet people and say, I am so-and-so working in this place, you know, then you get the gratitude and recognition. That's good, but it's not great. What you got to realize is, if you stick through your original plan of following through on your idea, you may not get that recognition in the middle, but later on, when you hit goal, you will be, you know, up there with the rest of the crowd. So how do you pick yourself up? I'm going to go back to what I told you earlier. Be uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to fail. For example, imagine if you are blind, and I tell you there is a cure. And the cure is, you got to get humiliated. Would you humiliate yourself to see? You would, because you want to see so bad. And success is like that. When you want success with every bone in your body, you don't mind the humiliation. You don't mind the ridicule. You don't mind the failure. You really don't care. Because the only thing that you think of every second of every day is when I'm going to be successful. And that's the entrepreneur mindset that needs to be developed, and that's the entrepreneur mindset that needs to be cultivated. If you're not thinking like that, then you're not an entrepreneur.
And if I could just direct this as a final question to you. If someone would like to start it up today to become an entrepreneur, and that's afraid of failing, right? What's the one phrase you would tell them to sum it up sum all of it up in 10 words, let's say?
The one phrase that
you would just tell them to motivate themselves. Keep repeating this to yourself every day.
I think as an advice to all the audience and the fans who would like to be an entrepreneur one day and to be a good leader.
Exactly.
Okay. Pain is temporary. You know, pain is temporary. I know it, you know it, you know it. Pain is temporary. Because when you become successful, you never remember the pain. You only remember the success. But if you give up, you will always remember the pain. Alright, is that someone up?
That was brilliant. Pain is temporary, but if you give up, you will always feel the pain.
That's right.
And these are wise words from Dhanansha Hettiarachchi. I think we've had a brilliant time in the studio
I've had
today.
a great time too.
And of course, we learned one thing overall, that you have to strive for the best.
That's right.
And try hard and hard and hard. And even if you fail, that's fine. That's actually a good thing, because you know you can get up and be more successful in time to come. Thank you so much.
Pleasure was
once
mine.
again.
Yeah. Great pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure was mine, Amaya.
And we'll be right back, because on the show we have a few individuals, students, who are great at communicating their ideas, and they'll be speaking to you about an exciting event that's coming up this weekend. So do stay tuned with us here on Good Morning Sri Lanka.